The Non-Obvious Guide to Being More Creative, No Matter Where You Work. Written by Catherine P. Hayden. Published by Idea Press Publishing, September 2019. Introduction. Why I no longer buy high heels. The other night, I was giving a speech and running up and down the auditorium steps wearing black ankle boots that could have been a medieval torture device. After the event, I realized I would have to subject myself to another form of torture to fix the problem. Shoe shopping. While I don't mind clothes shopping, I tend to dread shoe shopping because no matter what I do, it feels nearly impossible to get a pair of comfortable, fashionable shoes. So there I was, stuck driving to the mall on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon to conduct another search, probably in vain, for a pair of good-looking and comfortable shoes for a keynote the following week. Knowing my style, I loaded my arms with floor samples of the typical high-heeled choices as I canvassed the shoe department with low expectations. Being open to the crazy. My fate changed when I met a salesperson named Andre Paul Chin. He was dressed in a bright purple shirt and had a trace of a Jamaican accent. Andre Paul was funny, thoughtful, and cheerful as he dutifully brought me one uncomfortable pair of shoes after another. I wish the question weren't, which shoe will hurt the least, I remarked cynically. Seeing my frustration, he pointed to his own feet and his trendy, comfortable-looking kicks and explained how he had stopped wearing dress shoes last year. I decided not to suffer anymore, climbing stairs to retrieve boxes of shoes all day long. I went out and found a working shoe to take the place of every dress shoe, Andre Paul told me. I sighed. I wish I could do that, I said, dismissing the thought. But then he said he had a crazy idea. He popped open a new box and proceeded to slide a pair of slippers onto my feet. The familiar sheepskin felt heavenly after all of those uncomfortable boots, and we had a good laugh about what might happen if I wore those on stage. However, wearing that ridiculous choice of slippers got me thinking in a new way. Looking at Andre Paul, I asked if he had any more unusual ideas. Clearly, it was the question he was waiting for, because his eyes lit up and he walked me to a table of sparkling, colorful, non-heeled possibilities. A tentative wave of rebellious excitement passed over me as he spoke. Why not make shoes your thing, he asked. Why not create your own style? To bring his suggestion back to reality, he promptly brought out boxes and boxes of eclectic designer sneakers inspired by Italian streetwear. Skater shoes, actually. All the while, he talked to me about starting a collection, buying a new pair every month, surprising audiences with different wild shoes each time. No one will know what you're going to show up in next. Clearly, Andre Paul was a gifted salesperson. But the possibility he was raising, that maybe, just maybe, I could forevermore work in comfort and create a signature style for myself, felt exciting. I began picturing my future self on stage with a collection of very expensive skater shoes. It was a major stretch. I started my career working for a bank when men and women both wore suits. I remember hearing once that there was even an employee whose job it was to measure the hems of women's skirts to ensure they weren't too short. I believed it. Yet, despite my long-held bias about what it meant to dress professionally, I decided to put my hesitation aside and buy a pair of those shoes. I'll admit that I had to think twice when getting dressed for that next keynote. But I took the risk and wore the shoes. During the talk, I practically floated around the room, weaving without fear of catching a heel among the dozens of tables as I spoke. Afterward, a crush of women came running up to me. "Thank you for wearing those shoes," they exclaimed, almost in unison. As it turns out, other people had the same shoe problem I did. By going out on a limb and doing something different to solve it, I paved the way to help them find a solution too. Why it starts with taking a risk. Of course, this book isn't about buying a different pair of shoes or succumbing to the charm of a friendly and effective salesperson. It is about being willing to take a risk that can open your mind to being more creative. Sometimes all you need is a gentle nudge from a guide like Andre Paul, showing you the path. The aim of this book is to be that nudge. In the coming chapters, you will learn how to harness your creativity using the same methods that have worked for thousands of professionals I have had the honor of mentoring and coaching. The curated collection of tools and techniques I share in this guide will help you adopt a mindset that helps you break through what I call the inertia of no. More on that later. Above all, you will understand how thinking creatively can help you overcome limiting assumptions and do what both Andre Paul and I did in that moment back at that shoe store. What Nordstrom knows about creativity. Andre Paul's choice to change his footwear forced him not only to change his mindset, but to navigate the corporate culture at a large retailer that could have immediately dismissed his idea. In a culture of no, he might never have attempted to make this change, anticipating that it would be shot down. But when the managers at Nordstrom were open to Andre Paul's slight shift in dress code so that he could better serve customers and therefore make more sales, they sent a signal and reaffirmed creativity as part of the store culture. His manager's acceptance signaled that seeking new possibilities was welcome. They were open to new ideas and willing to be flexible to help employees do their best work. What if you could work at a place like that? What if you could be a person like that? You can, and this book will show you how. Copyright 2019 by Catherine P. Hayden. All rights reserved. To learn more about the non-obvious guide to being more creative, please visit us at www.sparkitivity.com. That's SPARKITIVITY.com. Or search The Non-Obvious Guide to Being More Creative wherever books are sold.